What's up, guys? My name is Phil. Welcome back to the Detailing Workshop. So I want to talk to you guys about paint enhancement and paint correction. So if you're familiar with my main channel, Miranda Detailing, we do a lot of paint enhancement and polishing on that channel and for our customers. Now, we can certainly do paint corrections, but I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Now, what's the difference between paint correction and paint enhancement? Well, those are just my terms. Many guys have different terms for what they deem as an enhancement or a correction, and they'll have different levels even in between those. So I try to keep things simple. I have 3 exterior-only services: paint protection, paint enhancement, and paint correction. The paint protection is basically washing, deconning, and some sort of protection, whether it is wax or sealant or a ceramic sealant. With that, I'm not going to apply coatings. This is basically washing and waxing, washing and protecting. The next step is paint enhancement. Again, same wash process, deconning the paint, but this time we're going to enhance the paint, and I try to shoot for 50% and over, depending on the condition of the paint and the defects and how well the paint responds. So our paint enhancement, again, is 50% and higher defect removal. And then, of course, we will end with some sort of protection, wax sealant, and coatings if needed. So I will include coatings in this, or not include it, but add it on. And that is an option for the customer to choose. Then we have our paint correction. Now, this, of course, is going to be multi-stage compounding, polishing, whatever it takes. Sometimes it doesn't take that much. Sometimes it just takes a light compounding and a light polish, and it's nearly 95% correction. That just depends on the paint. So it's not like a magic product or pad combo that's going to get those results every single time. It really depends on how the paint responds. There are soft paints, there are hard paints, and it just all depends. And you never know if it's a soft or hard paint until you really get into working on the paint and you do a couple of test spots and see how the paint responds. Yes, typically your German vehicles, your BMW, your Audi, your Volkswagen, those typically can be harder paint, but not all the time. So again, I can talk about that in future videos, but it's pretty simple. There's soft and hard paint, there's medium paint. It just all depends on the make, model, year, if it's been repainted or not. And you just work with your combos to figure out what works. I always start with something in the middle ground. And again, I'll talk about this in later videos, but with my paint enhancements, it's usually starting with an Orange Lake Country pad and some sort of a polish. It's kind of a, I don't know, flavor of the day. It depends on what I'm feeling like. I'll grab a certain polish and just see what happens with it. And then I can either go up or down from there, either switch out pad to be more aggressive or choose a more aggressive polish / compound. So the variety of combos in there can get too confusing, and I understand that many people don't know what to use, what is the best. It's not about what's the best. I can work with very simple products, and even my go-tos like M110 and M210. Those are basic compounds and polishes, easily accessible and affordable, and they work extremely well. Sometimes I just go back to the old faithfuls and they work incredibly well. Sometimes we get too caught up with all the new polishes and compounds and the German brands and the UK brands and all that stuff that, you know, all those polishes that are coming into the US. Yeah, they're great. But don't get caught up in that because you're going to confuse yourself. Start with good old faithful compounds and polishes that work. And those are 2 suggestions that I'll put down below. M110, M210. And those are great. Start off with those. And if you are looking for those Orange Lake Country pads, I'll have all the links down below to those pads, the microfiber discs from Meguiar's that we use for compounding. Start with those basics, because those will really help you to get amazing results. Now, if you are a regular on our other channel and you see us doing a lot of paint enhancements, well, that's because I will kind of talk the customer out of a paint correction. Why do I do that? It's more money for me, right? Well, I do that because I want to build a relationship with them. If they don't need to spend that money and it's a daily driver, it's going to get swirled up again. It's just a fact of life that it's going to get swirled. No matter if I wash it or they wash it, as careful as I am or anyone else is, it's going to get swirled because it's a daily driver. It gets dirty and it gets cleaned more often than a garage queen. So I'll talk them out of it, and I'll talk them into a paint enhancement. For one, it's quicker for us, and it's a little bit more enjoyable because I'm not, in my mind, trying to shoot for my perfection. I don't mean 100%, but my level of perfection, and trying to get the paint as good as it possibly and safely can. It takes longer. So paint enhancements we can do much, much quicker. Paint corrections can sometimes take 2 days. Usually with my wife and I now, compounding and polishing, we can get it done in a day. Paint enhancements, about a half a day or so. So it's much more enjoyable, more satisfaction, I think, for me. But I know everybody wants to see clear paint. They don't want to see any scratches, any swirls, any little defects at all. When that camera passes by that light, they want crystal clear perfection on the paint. It's an unreality. So you can't shoot for that 100% of the time. And I know detailers here on YouTube love to show that aspect. They don't want to show any little tiny line or defect in the paint because they can get called out for it. They don't understand reality. The viewers don't understand reality. And even if they are so-called detailers, again, if they are nitpicking about that, they obviously are unrealistic. And I'm not going to follow that idealistic way. This is the real world. There's going to be defects on the paint, and whether you show it or not, they're going to be there. I know that there are some light little scratches on this car that we're working on today, but again, it's a paint enhancement. I'm not going to attack those. I'm not going to go any further because I don't need to. So that's not what the customer is paying for. If they're paying for a paint correction, okay, I'll try to go a little further. I'll measure it and only go as far as I safely can and then call it. Again, the customer may still see that scratch, but we're going to communicate with them. We're going to tell them this is as far as we can go. If we go any further, we compromise the paint. That's not what I'm about. I will not do that. I will not remove a scratch if I know it's going to thin the paint out so much that that area is now compromised. That's just not good practice. It's not good business practice, but it's not good detailer practice. I'm not going to compromise the paint. I'm going to leave as much on there as possible. When it comes to paint corrections and paint enhancements, you are going to have to decide how far you want to go, and you also have to communicate with the customer and set realistic expectations and help them understand how far do you want to go and how much are you going to charge. Really, to charge what we would charge for a paint enhancement, which start at $400 to $500 depending on the vehicle, and perform a paint correction would be foolish business-wise. Would the customer be happy? Yeah, sure. You're giving them exceptional value, way over the top. That's nice and everything, but you can't do that for every single customer. You will burn out and you'll lose money. So you don't want to do that. And by lose money, I mean time is money. You're going to spend more time on that one vehicle that you could have been working on something else in your business, either another vehicle or again, something else in your business. I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend all day in a vehicle if I don't need to. I'm going to be fast and efficient, get the job done correctly, appropriately, get paid for it, and move on. I do like my time off. If I can get a vehicle done in the morning and then have the afternoon off, like we did today, to be able to make videos and do other things in our business, then that's what I'm going to shoot for. Time is more valuable to me. Time is important, but maybe it's not for you. Maybe you want to spend all day long and only make a few $100s on a full paint correction and ceramic coating or whatever. Well, that's up to you. But if you are starting as a detailing business, if you're watching this, then you should be thinking about starting a detailing business and doing proper, appropriate business things, not going overboard and shooting for perfection. And I know detailers are like that. That's something that we have to curb, that we have to kind of slow ourselves down and not go overboard. So there's a balance to be struck there. So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know down below. I hope that kind of cleared up some questions that you may have. If you still have more questions, again, let me know down below and I can hopefully clarify things in later videos. Subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell so you don't miss stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great week.